Hello, hello, everyone out there. Welcome back to the Ace of Spades channel. Thank you for joining me. I took a little bit of time, a little break myself, and it's always good if you need that time. Self-care is so important with everything going on in the world today, so I encourage you to take care of yourselves. I was reading this really great article, and I will link it in the description box below. It's by Panama Jackson, who writes for the Grio. And it's basically talking about talking across the board. And does the phrase, quote unquote, play to win count as talking across the board in a spades game? So I thought, you know what? Let me make a video about this because he doesn't think so. And neither do I, right? So the phrase, quote unquote, play to win, it's just basically, a bit of encouragement to your partner. However, with everything in spades, it's subjective, right? And so that's what he was saying throughout his article. He was basically saying, depending on who you're playing with, the style that you're playing, it could be seen or it could be taken as quote unquote talking across the board. So let's start there, okay? So, what does it even mean to be talking across the board? So, talking across the board means signaling your partner through your conversation, okay? And that could be anything, as crazy as someone saying, like, you know, oh, I went to the club last night, or I heard that so and so joined up with the Bloods to signal, that they have red cards or whatever suit is either leading or signaling to their partner about their hand, basically, right? And that is not allowed. And almost every spades game I've played in, it's definitely looked down upon, and people do not like it when you talk across the board, and they will call you out on it. Now, some people, it depends on who you're playing with, like some old school players like my mom and my aunties, they might take some books. Like you might get a warning the first time, like, hey, that's talking across the board, or we don't talk across the board around here. But uh other people, especially after they warn you, they might start taking some of your books away. So don't do it, because then you'll get a reputation as being, a real shady spades player. And you don't want that, because that sticks for life. Like every cookout, every, gathering, holiday, you don't want to be known as like that spades player that is just real difficult and shady and talks across the board. So as a general rule, like I said, especially if you're playing with older people, old school players, do not talk across the board. Like I put this for example, somebody says, well, I'm bleeding over here. That means that they have an abundance of red cards, right? Diamonds and hearts, which are not good, right? Diamonds, hearts, and clubs are, they're not your trump cards. They're not your cards that are going to win that book. Unless, of course, you have like the ace or the king or the queen. But most of the time, people say, like, oh, I'm bleeding over here, which is pretty common. Um, that means that they have a lot of lower tier, red cards. Um, and again, it depends on, every family, every region makes up their own rules. Like, for example, in Panama Jackson's article that I will link, he was talking about how, he plays big joker, little joker, the two of diamonds, and then the two of spades, right? And we don't play like that. least where I'm from. So it depends on where you're from. And, I've made videos about this and I'll make some more. But we don't use the two of diamonds near the Cleveland area in Ohio. Okay. It's it's the big joker, the little joker, the two of spades is the wild card. And then we have the ace of spades. So ours is joker, joker, deuce, ace. And that's how I grew up playing. Now in Detroit, the two of diamonds is wild. And I don't want to get off topic because I don't want to confuse anybody. But I said all that to say that every style is not necessarily wrong. It's just different. And so it's good to have the fundamentals down, right? So that you can play different styles. And if you go to, like I said, my friends from Detroit, when I was in college, we would play. And that was the first time I'd ever heard or seen someone using the two of diamonds as a wild card. Usually, where I'm from and how I grew up playing, we would take those out. And the reason why you remove two cards is because you're playing with the jokers, but you still want your deck to be a 52 card deck. So we would remove the two of diamonds and we would remove the two of hearts in order to supplement the two jokers. And that's not how everyone plays. But the good news is, since I knew that, since I had my fundamentals down and I had been playing since I was in middle school, then I was able to adapt and eventually learn quickly on my feet that the two of diamonds is a wild card, which it throws me because spades is a color coded game, right? Like you want to keep, at least I do, and my family and my friends, and like I said, this is how I learned when I was playing middle school. You want to keep all of your books color coded. You want to keep all the diamonds together. You want to keep all the hearts together. You want to keep your spades together, and you want to keep your clubs together. And the way I organize my book, I organize my hand, when the cards are dealt, I, put the spades all together and then a red book. Uh, it doesn't matter if it's diamonds or hearts, but just to separate the colors. Because what you don't want to do is you do not want to renege. Okay. You don't want to throw out something and, let's say like everybody's throwing out hearts or diamonds or clubs or whatever, and you get lost or confused and you throw out a spade when you're not supposed to, then that's worse than talking across the board. And then, your other team will take three of your bucks. So, and it's hard coming back from that. But if people lie and say they haven't reneged, chances are, like I said, they're a lie because this is a game where it's subjective and there's a lot of trash talking going on. Not necessarily talking across the board, but just kind of like distracting, talking about, family matters, current events, relationships, like people are joking and, you know, um, but they're not talking about the cards in their hand or the game. So that's talking across the board. Okay. So just to be safe, don't talk across the board, meaning don't signal to your partner anything about your hand. Don't, because some people would consider that cheating. And, with any game, you don't want to be considered a cheater. But yeah, if you get those fundamentals down, you can play any style. You can, that's with anything. You can switch it up and make it your own. And so that's what I want to do with this channel, is to help you get the fundamentals down and go over the basics. So, and then we can get into more advanced stuff later in later videos. But that article was really cute. It reminded me of playing at home, and I do miss playing spades a lot with friends and family. The pandemic has put a pause on that. I won't say it put a stop to it, but it definitely put a pause on it. So I do want to be more regular with the videos. So that's a goal of mine, to be more consistent with posting. And I really hope that maybe one day we can meet up somewhere and we can all play around, play a hand of spades. So anyway, that was it. Just don't talk across the table, no table talk, or don't talk across the board, I should say. Trash talk across the table is fine. It's what makes spades fun. But don't signal anything about your hand or the cards that you or your partner have. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You guys take care of yourselves, and I will talk with you soon. Bye.